district. My wife is a teacher, and I ended up getting into the school district as well as an EA, and then getting into a behavior intervention thing where I basically worked with all the kids in the district that had like severe behavior coming from various backgrounds, similar to the kids that you would have had at camp, you know, that just come from really struggling, and just fell in love with those type of kids. And just like some of these kids that we think are just, you know, a lost cause and they're whatever, are the most beautiful kids inside. Once you get to know them and you hear their story, hear what they've gone through, and then you get to see these kids and be a part of their life and help them succeed. And so that was a really cool thing.
That was a time I remember being amazed with your level of patience and understanding for those kids, because that's a major difference between you and I.
Right.
And like your sense of empathy and understanding and social awareness for those kids. And you became the kind of go-to guy in the whole area here, as like, if you can get Brad to be in your class to deal with that, you get assigned the most challenging kids in the area. And then the stories I remember you telling me about kids throwing chairs through windows and like crazy stuff. That the one I thought was so funny that I want you to tell was the kid that climbed up onto the top of the playground stuff with a whole bunch of rocks.
Yeah, that's right.
How did that one go?
Again, like, for those of you that work with these type of, like they become the norm. Like, you're just like, that's just what happens. But yeah, this kid came and in the particular playground, it's all that pea gravel or whatever like that. And again, it was brilliant because we were all trying to like rally around and make sure that he's safe, but also that all the other kids are safe, you know, because some of these kids can be pretty unsafe. And he just filled his pockets and everything with all this gravel and got to the top of this playground. And like, if you got close, you were going to get a handful of rocks in the face. And he was just like whipping rocks at people. And it was just like, that was a really, really intense one. But another one I would say.
But how did that finish? Because that's what I wanted to.
Honestly, I don't even.
I remember because you told it to me. So I remember you talking about you guys cleared all the kids off the playground, and you and I thought the principal were standing off to the side, and he ran out of rocks. And you were watching him out of the corner of your eye, waiting for him to get the ground so you can go get a hold of him.
Get a hold of him, that's right.
And you talked about how he climbed down super slow. He was watching you, and he didn't think you were watching him.
Yeah.
And as soon as his feet touched the ground, you bolted over, and he screamed.
Screamed at the top of his lungs.
And you went trucking over there and got a hold of him and was able to calm the situation down.
It's not like a tackle. You can't do that. You know, you have to have, like, we had to go through training on how to restrain kids to make sure that, you know, it was as safe as possible. And, you know, you want to do all that stuff to have the least impact on them, so they're not going to have this traumatic experience and stuff. But the one that I remember, which was still, it's funny in my mind, is I had this one kid that something had happened at school, so I had him in the office, and and then all of a sudden the fire alarm went, just this random thing. So all of a sudden everybody has to go outside. So I'm with this kid outside, and then so the fire trucks and everything come, and they check the school out, all fine, everybody could go back in. And so we're going back in. And I'm supposed to go to this other class. And so I say to the two principals, I'm like, you guys got this guy here? You're all good? You know, and they're like, yeah, no problem. We're fine. So I go back into school while all the kids are coming back to school. And I look out the window once I get back in, and this little dude has realized that, like, I'm not there and the principals aren't paying attention. And he's running across the field all the way across to the fence. And so I'm like on the window yelling at the principals, he's running away. And so they turn around. And so you see these two, like, you know, principals in past their prime trying to run after this kid. Kid hits the fence, up over this big fence, jumps off into the neighborhood and into the city, just like takes off down the thing there. And so, like, we're all on the radios and we're like, you know, called the police. They're like, there's a kid who's run off. And we found him in a grocery store. He had hidden on one of the shelves in a grocery store, like cleared all the macaroni and all the stuff and made this big spot, and then like crawled in there and so you couldn't even see him when you're down the aisles. Brilliant hiding spot, you know, and then ended up finding him. But again, a fantastic kid, like all said and done, like, you know.
Well, it's funny bumping into some of those kids that you worked with from years and years ago now. And like, oh, you're fairly well adjusted. You're holding down a job, and the impact that was had through your patience with them. That's so cool.